Guys, welcome to another tutorial. How you all doing? In my last video I mentioned that I padded my hip, and I'm going to be showing you how I go about my hip padding. So here is the video. If you like to see the upper part of this dress, I will be posting it in my next video, so please do well to watch that as well. Thank you to all my new subscribers. You guys are the best. And if this is your first time on this YouTube channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please subscribe, it really means a lot, guys, and join the family. Let me know your thoughts on the comment section. Enjoy. So I'm going to be drafting on my brown paper. It's a straight pencil skirt. You can go ahead to input your measurement directly on your fabric, but I'm going to be doing this process on my brown paper. This will serve as my pattern later on that I will use to cut on my fabric. Hope you understand that. So this is a single pattern, right? Two that I placed together for back and front, and you can see that the front one is the one on top and it's 2 inches. I left 2 inches before placing the front one. So I'm just going to go ahead now, take the measurement. The length I'm going to use here is 40 inches plus 3 inches extra to hem it at the down part. So the starting point of this brown paper, that will serve as my waistline. So from that starting point, I'm going to measure down 8.5. That will serve as my hip. Then come down again 18.5. That will serve as my knee line. So the remaining part is going to serve as the length of this skirt. So I'm going to connect this line now with my straight ruler. So that's my knee line now that I'm connecting. So this upper part, that is my waist point. The starting point is my waist point. So in that place, I'm going to input my waist circumference divided by 4. And I'm starting in with the front part. You can see where my waist circumference, where I start the measurement from, right? So then I add 1.5 for my side seam. So I'm going to do the same thing to my hip line now. My hip circumference divided by 4 plus 1.5 for side seam. Then on the knee line, I'm just going to measure what I have, the total measurement I have from the hip. I'm just going to measure it on the knee, then come in 1.25. So that's what I'm doing now. Then I'm going to come in 1.25. Then I'll do the same thing to the length. What I have on the knee is what I'm going to do on the length, right? The down part. So the same thing, I'm just going to come in 1.25. So I'm going to connect all this line. Now I'm going to use my curve ruler to connect the waist to the hip, then to the knee. After which I'll use a straight ruler to connect the knee to the hem part. Hope you understand. So this is just a straight pencil skirt, as I said before. If you know how to draft your pencil skirt, just go ahead and follow that process, right? So the front pattern now is ready. It's very simple. Now moving to the back pattern, you remember that we left 2 inches before placing the front pattern, right? So that 2 inches now, this is what I'm going to do. That's the zip seam allowance. So I'm going to mark 0.75. Then on the hip line, I'm going to come in 1.75. The waist, I came in 0.75, while on the hip I came in 1.75. So the hip has more measurement. You can see the way I'm placing my curve ruler to connect it. So I'm going to connect my waist to my hip with my curve ruler. You can see the way I place the curve ruler, right? That's to give the buttocks room. Remember, we're also going to pad this too. So you need this process to give that enough room for the buttocks and the back parts. So from the knee now, you can see that I did not add anything to the hem parts. So this is all for the back side now. You don't need to be worried about the zip allowance or the seam allowance for the down part, the back side, right? Just follow this process and you have a perfect fit. So now I'm going to add that to the back. So 1 inch is that, and that's what I'm going to be marking to the back pattern. I'm using a red marker to make that obvious, right? But you see that 1 inch that I add to the back pattern is not going to appear to the front pattern. I'm going to cut that off for the front pattern. So this is all for the pattern, guys. Now I'm just going to show you that when you want to sew your zip and the 1/2 inch to turn the fabric with your lining, you still need to take it from there, right? That's the 1.5 inch, and that's exactly what I was showing you there. So I'm cutting this now. So this is the pattern now. Remember that I said I will remove that 1 inch from the front pattern. That's what I have done there. So the down part is serving for the back, and the upper part is serving for the front. So this is the pattern. I'm placing the back part aside now. Then for the front pattern is what we are going to use to cut the hip padding. So this is another fresh paper folded into 2. So I trace it out to the knee. You can see the way I place it now is exactly to the knee with the seam allowance. Now I'm just showing you how you can get this. So remove the front pattern now. Since you have traced it out, remember it's the front pattern that you are using to trace it out. So remove the front pattern now, just as I've done now. Now you are going to remove the seam allowance. We don't need it. Remove the seam allowance of 1.5 inches that we added. Remove it from this pattern that you are using to create your hip padding, right? This is the pattern for the hip padding. So pay attention to what I'm doing. I'm removing the seam allowance, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So I'm removing the seam allowance now. Remember the length is to the knee. So now the next thing I'm going to do now is that I'm just going to mark. So that's my waist, my hip, and the knee length. I'm just marking it for you. So from the waist, I'm going to come down 3 inches. Then from the knee, I'm going to go up 3 inches. Then where I went up 3 inches, I'll be going out 2.5. That's what I've marked there. Then at the side, this is for the front now. So from the center part, which is the center front, I'm going to come in 4 inches. That's what I'm marking now. So you can see the way I'm marking the 4 inches. So I'm going to connect from the knee now to that 2.5 that I marked there. Then to the 4 inches, you can see the way I'm curving my hand, right? Then I'll take it up to where I marked 3 inches. So that's for the front. Now for the back, then from the side of the center front too, I'm going to mark 1 inch instead of the 4 inches I marked for the front. For the back, I'm going to come in 1 inch, right? So the difference between these two now is just that 1 inch and the 4 inches. So I'm just going to start the connection from where you see me connecting it from now to that 1 inch, then curve it to the 3 inches up. That's for the back. So I'm going to cut this out now. You can see the way I'm cutting it. I'll cut the back one first, right? I'll first notch the hip point. That's the hip point. Now I'm notching the hip part so that this can meet. So I'm cutting the back side first. Then I will remove the back, then cut the front part. So now I've already cut it now. So I will remove my pin now, then remove that will serve for my back. So I'll remove it, then cut the front part now. So this is the pattern for my hip pad now. So I'm going to go ahead now to cut this on my foam, and you can see the way I'm placing it. That notch must meet, right? And the way you cut it on your foam is in a way that this is the foam now, is 1.5 inch foam, right? So I'm just going to place them in a way that they will not come out the same. It's going to serve for both sides, right? One of this pattern is going for the back and one is coming for the front. And when I want to the other side to turn, hope you understand. So remember that notch that we make there, we are still going to maintain that notch. So you can just go ahead to notch it too on the foam too. So this is serving for my back and the other one is serving for my front. So I'm just going to go ahead now to trim it. I'm going to trim it very well in a way that you will not even know that I padded it. So after you trim it, you're also going to place them in a way that you are going to sew them. The way I'm placing it now is that's how I'm going to sew it. So you can see that after I finish trimming it, I'm going to iron my stay on it. So I'm just going to show you how I'm going to sew it, right? So you can see the way I'm placing it, that's how I'm going to sew it. Remember that the two front one have to face each other and the two backs I have to face the other side. So this is it, and I've already trimmed it. I trim it in a way that it is very flat. So, and I've also ironed my stay on it. You can see how beautiful it is, guys. And I place them the way you saw me place it the other time. That's how I sew it. So you can see that these two are not going the same direction. So this is my pattern, my skirt now. The lining, I've sewed the lining to lining and my fabric to fabric. So I just use my pattern to cut on my fabric and both on my lining as well. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to sew this now. So I came down 3 inches. Remember that 3 inches that we came down the other time. So I'm placing it. Now remember that the front side, make sure that it's facing the front part and the back side is facing towards the back. So I'm just going to place it now, then sew it all round. I'll first sew it on that line, then later on sew it round. I'm sewing it on my lining, guys. Pay attention. I'm sewing this on my lining. This is very simple, guys. I've already finished sewing it and I'm showing you how I've also turned my skirt too, right? So this is it now. So beautiful. And I've also turned the skirt part, turn the down part as well. So if, assuming you are cutting this, you are sewing this as a skirt, you just have to go ahead now to sew your band, then place them right side face each other the way it is now, the way I'm placing it now, then sew the zip part, then sew the remaining part and leave your opening at the down part, right? But now I'm going to place it, I'm going to fit the upper part of this because this is a gown. So I'm going to place the upper part of it, which is this. If you want to see the tutorial, in fact I'm going to post my next tutorial. I'm going to be showing you how I cut this upper part. It came out so beautiful, guys. So I'm going to share it with you guys. So do well to watch that part as well. So I'm placing the right side face each other and I make sure that all my points are also meeting. So I'm going to sew it now. After which I will fit my sleeve and the zip at the back side and leave the slit open. So that will be the end of this video, guys. And this was the result. Came out so beautiful, just as I wanted it. So if you want to see more of these videos, please do well to like and subscribe. Support your girl, guys. See you in my next one. Bye.